What's up, chat? I've decided no more holding back. I'm gonna unleash my true power now. I didn't tell you this, but until now, I've only been using 30% of my full power. But going forward, I'm gonna use 100%. The truth is, until now, I've been drawing in fear because I've been afraid of not being good enough. But going forward, I'm gonna unleash it and not give a fuck and just go all out. If anything, my biggest concern is I might be too powerful. What percentage of you guys watch this stream while you're working or in school? Because I feel like there's definitely fewer people here on the weekends. People actually like have, you know, social lives and they go out and do shit on the weekends. Whereas if I'm streaming like during the workday, people are like, instead of properly doing my job, I will have this stream on in the background. It's not football season, so I can't watch on the weekends. I usually watch during work. Can you watch during football season? That doesn't make sense. Shouldn't be able to watch less during football season because you'd have to watch the games. Personally, I've been watching like 5 hours of NBA basketball. Keep Red Zone on and watch the stream. My femoid brain allows multitasking. I always wonder about that multitasking thing, because I've come to the realization that I cannot multitask, and if I think I'm multitasking, I'm just not doing anything. This happens frequently when I'm watching the NBA playoffs, because, like, there's so many fucking commercial breaks if you're a sports fan. You want to be like, there's definitely some better thing I can be doing using my time. Right? Like, you always are like, wow, I should do something during this commercial break. And if it's like doing the dishes or something, then maybe it's fine, but if I start like browsing another internet website in the 4 or 5 minutes of fucking commercials that you get so many times during a game, then I start like focusing on whatever shit I started browsing. And good luck getting back focused on actually watching sports. Like, the most common thing for me is, like, I'll check my Pixiv account to see if the artists I like have updated, and because, like, 90% of the artists I follow on Pixiv are just porn artists, now suddenly I'm horny. So what do I do now? I'm no longer paying attention to the basketball game. And if I am paying attention to the basketball game, I get this weird homosexual zone in which my dick is hard because I'm looking at Pixiv AI porn, but I'm on the second screen I'm also watching sweaty guys and listening to a male announcer voice. So it's really putting my sexuality to test right there. I'm giving my brain a lot of mixed signals there, whether it should have a erection or not. But if you think about it, sports teams already do that. Because if you're at the game, they're officially like, hey, you like watching sweaty, hot guys bump their asses into each other, right? Well, while the sweaty, hot guys are taking a break, here's another thing you would want to look at. These sexy girls doing dances. So the teams are already officially trying to confuse men's sexuality. Being like, here's something that makes you horny. Now go back to looking at hot guys. Do it again. Back and forth. Yeah. Went to a Lakers game and the cheerleaders wore sweatpants. Is that a thing now? Has DEI infected our culture so badly that I can't have an erection in my pants as I look at the infamous Lakers dancer girls? Nobody ever felt increased morale in sweatpants? It's okay to have baggy pants if they're like super low cut and then you're wearing like a revealing top, I guess, is the only, you know, acceptance I'm allowed to make. It's still better if they're tight so you can look at the ass, but... The only sports worth watching are baseball and ice hockey. Sounds like you're white. The only sport worth watching is cricket in its original rules. So it takes 3 days to complete a single match. Now that's pod racing right there, boys. I consider myself a feminist and I was pissed they weren't in miniskirts. I mean, if I Google search an image of Lakers dancers right now. Okay, Lakers girls NBA, the official NBA.com roster. Oh yeah, they are wearing sweater pants in the most recent official images on the NBA. But I mean, when we think Lakers girls, we think this, right? The booty shorts. I mean, I guess that's as short as they're allowed to go. And now they're like, it's time for sweatpants. We're not going back to the old days anymore. Here's the mini skirts, it seems. Soccer is truly the most fun to watch. Men grabbing their shins and crying. The good thing about soccer is if you go to a proper soccer match, then you get to see people appear as if they're dying. It's like, oh my god, is Messi literally gonna die now? On the pitch right now. I can't believe I'm here to see the final moments of an infamous soccer player before he expires, and then he gets up as if nothing happened. And you're like, huh, I guess they weren't actually about to die after all. Strange. I'm sure some boomers are crying about it. My cheerleader butts. I don't think you. I haven't even heard the boomers cry about not enough cheerleader exposure. I think the truth is nobody really cares about cheerleaders as horny as men are. When we're focusing on sports, we only care about our latent homosexual tendencies of looking at other guys. This is why the Dallas Cowboys can get away with being like, yeah, we basically don't pay our cheerleaders. And then the cheerleaders can like write a feminist opinion column in New York Times being like, you should pay us. And then Dallas's Cowboys are just like, Jerry Jones is like, LMAO, LOL, how about not? And you know what? There's still a bunch of, Cowboys cheerleaders that are going to sign up every year. And if they got rid of the cheerleaders, none of the fan base would actually care that much. Because, I mean, there's all these teams that don't have cheerleaders, right? And it doesn't really affect their attendance at all, so. That's the dirty secret, is that you can get away without paying cheerleaders because they're not actually an essential part of the product. The Pope who just died loves soccer but swore off TV, so he made his guards give him live updates. I mean, he is Argentinian. Messi, 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 Messi! Why cheerleader competitions are a thing, basically as gymnasts, but prepubescent meathead boys get to touch girls for the first time and girls get attention. What percentage of the guys who do the cheerleading lifts and stuff are actually heterosexual, though? It's just a lot. There's just a lot of competitions that exist for things that are like competitive sports that people don't really care that much about. Cricket being another one. Just kidding, all the Indians in chat. We all love cricket. Uh, I mean, theoretically, the whole point of cheerleading is for you to get hyped up for the other sport. That's what the cheerleading is for. You're cheering a different team, and then the cheerleaders are the leaders of the cheer. But somewhere along the way, they kind of lost the point of it. It all sort of got lost in the sauce somehow. I consider it in the same category as spelling bees. Originally we had spelling so people could communicate with each other, but eventually we're like, nah, instead we're going to have a competition in which we try and figure out how to spell this extremely long made up foreign words. And Indian kids are going to compete over it. Cricket is just like baseball, but I would get mauled to death if I ever said that in public. Cricket is just like baseball, except it's way slower and more boring. And it was forced onto the Indian subcontinent by British colonialism. It takes more time and it's less fun. It's also less athletic as well. Spelling bees are but a symptom of the English language is bullshit when you are sounding out words. Cunt. Can I get the etymology of that? What is the country of origin of the term cunt? C E N K. Cunt. No? Am I getting it wrong? Is that incorrect? As a woman who played soccer and destroyed her ACL, it's either get a concussion with a group of lesbians or get a concussion in a cute outfit. Are you sure that the cheerleaders aren't also lesbians? You're not necessarily safe from lesbians just because you're part of the cheerleader group. They might just be hiding it better. Also, you can still tear your ACL doing cheerleading as well, of course. You can tear your ACL doing anything, honestly. Especially when you're over, like, 35. You just wake up in the morning and get out of bed and, like, tear every single ligament in your knee and Achilles tendon and everything. It's the joy of getting older. I feel like a concussion from falling off a human tower is less traumatic than getting shin destroyed by someone looking to get the ball. How about a concussion from sucking Chad's gigacock? I didn't go to a high school that had a proper football team or cheerleaders, so I couldn't confirm whether the cheerleader Queen Bee was having sex with Chad Thundercock, but I like to believe that she was. Also, I'd like to believe that Chad's Thundercock is intact instead of permanently shrunken by too much PED use. Surely he has not gone impotent from various human growth hormone abuses. Softball, truly the most iconic of lesbian sports. Soccer was for the closeted ones. I wonder what percentage of Japanese soccer types are lesbians. Because in America, there's like very clear distinctions in like gender roles and stuff, and what lesbians do and what straight people do, but I think it's more there's more like a space for like sporty girls that aren't exactly lesbians in Japan. Maybe I'm just being hopeful, but I think the vast majority of Japanese like pro sports players are have like a husband and kids and stuff like that. So there aren't any butch women in Japan. That's the thing. It's just not like when you take the whole butch part out of the fashion discussion and everything. Like Japanese girls who have short hair think it's fashionable. They're not doing it to have any kind of gender statement. A female football halftime sport act for men to jerk off at female butts and wardrobe malfunctions, or is it in the beach volleyball territory in which the girls dress skimpy to secure attendance and sponsor but is an actual sport? I mean, there's lingerie football league, which is the non-actual sport, but I don't know if there's a other female football leagues that you're talking about. Also, didn't the beach volleyball players not only complain because it hurt attendance, but because the DI appropriate non sexualized uniforms were less comfortable? I thought there was like a lot of consensus that people were like, I don't care if people look at my butt. It's less fabric, it's easier to move around. Speaking of wanking to women in sports, the women's matches in WrestleMania were great. I can't bother to watch WWE anymore. I had a brief period in my life in which I was following it, but I'm not doing it anymore. At some point, I just realized like it takes too long for the plot lines to develop, so I'm just not going to do it. I mean, it really takes forever. It's like a soap opera, except instead of like shit happening really quickly, it happens super slowly over the course of 6 months. They have to drag out every single fucking feud to the next pay per view, and then at the pay per view you get a slight, forward movement. You can watch Rhea Ripley on mute. She's still hot. Jesus, wait, does she have a nose ring? Damn, that's not something I would want when I'm wrestling. That's just terrifying. If I had stuff stuck in my nose, I feel like it'd be really easy to get ripped out. This is the most sadistic thing I can say, but looking at this face, I really want to see her cry. This is how you know that I'm like 90% S and like 10% masochist. Because, like, the first opinion I have of seeing a strong woman make a slightly sad face is like, God, I wish I want to see her, like, bullied and cry. She looks like she's a relatively sensitive person. Misogynistic penis taking over a second there. It's not even just misogyny. I also like seeing men suffer as well. It's part of the reason why I like watching speedrunners streaming. Because like 90% of speedrunning is just suffering. People being forced. Their hobby is doing the same machine-like repetitive video game tasks again and again, and 95% of the time it's just gonna go very poorly, and they're like, fuck. And most of the time it's not even their own fault, it's just the RNG fucking with them. It really sort of satisfies my sadistic boner. I especially enjoy watching streamers who don't enjoy what they're doing anymore, but are forced to continue doing it because it's now their job. On the flip side, I immediately stop watching shit if it's like a stream of 2 or 3 best friends and they're all yucking it up and having a really good time, and they seem to be really enjoying themselves among themselves. This is one of the reasons why I have difficulty finding D&D podcasts I like, because 90% of them are just the streamers like really enjoying each other's company. And I find that very unpleasant. I'd rather see people suffer. The face when you have reached unlikely streaming success and still feel like a wage cuck. Ultimately what you're doing is the same as waging, because you have to punch in every day and then act as a clown for the people who are watching your stream. So you are basically a wage cuck. It's the same thing. You need to insert yourself parasocially into the streamer friend group. Yeah, I guess that's what you're supposed to do. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the BaalBud stream. I'm your best friend. We're all chilling here, guys. Just having a nice, comfy stream among us fellow gamer artists. Am I right, guys? Hell yeah. I don't think I could do the constant pressure to be entertaining, honestly. Entertain me, streamer. Say something funny right now. Joining the Discord and not being able to keep up with the genuine connection or IRL proximity has with certain people in the community is awful. That's why you should hang out in the BaalBud Discord where nobody communicates with each other except when I'm doing a commission auction. and then it's just for people to complain about how the whales won. I mean, going back to streamers not being able to keep up being entertaining, that's basically everyone though, isn't it? Right? Like, most streamers end up taking long breaks because they end up getting like fucking depressed and shit, right? So, I think even like successful streamers have that problem. No silent auction for the poor guy who has been trying to get their Miso no Kirika for the 10th time in a row unsuccessfully. So, how does a silent auction work? Is it like everybody just puts in their bid without uh, notifying each other so nobody knows how high the bid has gone? Is that how it works? Let's be honest. If you're poor, there's basically zero chance of you winning any kind of auction format, no matter what type of format it is. Saving up to make a VTuber 3D model of an ugly bastard so I can finally kick off streaming my shitty Infinity Nikki Let's Plays for 2 people. I feel like if AI is supposed to be so amazing, it should be able to create these VTuber avatars or something using AI technology by now. Like, don't you feel like that's something it should be able to do? Is just take in data of your ideal ugly bastard face type and then be able to animate it in response to your facial movements. It seems like something you should be able to do with AI. Only the person who wants to get back their stuff puts a bid with any prices and then anyone just stays quiet until they win the auction, I think. Wait, so it's like a penny auction? I don't know, I don't really care. The whole point of an auction that I do is for me to get the maximum amount of money, so I'm not going to do any kind of format in which it allows the poor people to win. That defeats the purpose. The quality for out-of-box VTuber models is so low, AI probably could do it. If quality starts getting better, it's a different story. As someone who doesn't actually care about the VTuber avatar and watching it move and shit, because I treat streams primarily as an audio format of entertainment instead of a visual format, and when I'm looking at the stream, I'm actually looking at the gameplay or whatever if they're playing a video game. So for me, the modeling quality really doesn't do anything for me at all. But I'm not part of the consumer base, so I guess it doesn't matter one way or the other. BB VTubing when? Never. Why does everybody keep on saying I should get a VTuber avatar? People have said this 10 million times, as if it's like 2000 and... I don't know, what year did we start getting VTubers? 2018? 2016? And it's like, I'm the first person with a VTuber avatar, and it's this tremendous novelty, and just having the anime version of my face on the screen is just gonna immediately give me a bunch of viewers, which, we should all know is not true. Go to the art section right now and see how many people that you can find with fucking avatars that have like 3 viewers. Like, it doesn't make any fucking difference. Unless you're like a Niji Sanji voice slut. And everyone's like, she's my girlfriend! Lucia-chan! I'm gonna buy Lucia-chan's, not wedding ring, but basically a wedding ring. And then I'm gonna kill myself when 2 days later it turns out that she's been fucking a singer or something, whatever the fuck happened. It's all so silly. I wish crotch cams were still allowed. Gotchi Hyper. I mean, how are crotch cams interesting either? It would be only interesting if, like, you could see the guy getting, like, an erection while he talked about something, or the female streamer, like, visibly getting wet. Like, her yoga pants would just start to, like, have an obvious dark stain going on, and you're like, why the fuck is she getting wet? What the fuck? That would be interesting. And then you could, like, try and theorize what part of this conversation's, like, set it off for that person. It's like, what kind of obscure, fucked up fetish does this person have if they're getting sexually aroused when they're talking about cheese or something like that? Lucia is a throwback. Not in my mind. I'm old. In my mind, Lucia was exposed just a few days ago. How many years ago was that? Was that like 2 or 3 years ago? In the VTuber years, that's like dog years, so if someone had to quote-unquote graduate a few years ago, it means that might as well be like the prehistoric era. It's crazy that VTubing only blew up after COVID boom. People really wanted an anime girlfriend. I don't know when we had the technology or when people first started doing it, but a lot of shit happened during COVID when the extroverts lost their mind because they couldn't go outside. So that was always interesting. Yeah, like how is Peloton stock doing, for example? Keck W. Holy fucking shit. Look at that shit, dude. $22. Let's fucking go! Oh, let's go! 158! Oh, oh. When was the quarantine officially over? Because it's just like. I wonder, has it gone officially bankrupt? It doesn't look like it's completely bankrupt, but it's pretty fucking funny. The joy in his voice. I mean, it's just such an obvious situation of specific consumer demand. And they're like, we have to build 500 new factories, guys. Surely everybody is going to be literally trapped in their house forever. Is Guar and other Hololive personalities even entertaining to watch if you aren't a touch-starved weeb? I don't know. I also have difficulty enjoying high-pitched voices, so that sort of disqualifies the vast majority of VTubers. I only follow one VTuber, I've said this before, but she's a dedicated eroge consumer female, and she spent like 99% of the earnings that she made off of VTubing, which isn't that much considering she's not that popular, on buying more eroge. And she was like, yeah, this one cost $800. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this person? Also, she's tried many times to stream eroge on YouTube, which, you know, I don't think that's exactly what YouTube wants their platform to be used for. So it's always interesting to see if she's gonna get banned. But yeah, that's the only VTuber I follow. Most VTubers literally just do React content and upload it to YouTube. Is Asmongold a VTuber, guys? Post, don't post a link because you can't post link, but if there's some video you want me to react to right now, tell me what it is and I'll react to it. React harder, streamer! No, there's nothing you want me to react to? How could you say that? That's so mean. Are you even my fan base if you don't want me to react to something? Why are you even here? I can't believe in this modern day and age you don't care about me reacting to content. Asmin is not a VTuber, but he's essentially a VTuber, isn't he? He just has no anime avatar. What's the difference? Here's a video of her calling one of her female VTuber friends on YouTube, in which she is pretending that she's in an NTR hentai, in which she's where you call your husband and being like, I'm doing yoga right now. I'm shocked that this is still up on YouTube. What are these Chinese cartoon ladies saying? They're doing the NTR uh, telephone call play in which the wife is getting fucked by, you know, the big cock. How is this on YouTube? She's also streamed like literal eroge and figured out how she can censor enough in which the YouTube doesn't fucking delete it, which is really impressive. Why don't you stream eroge? Because you get banned, that's why. I don't know what sort of special sauce she found in which they were able to edit out all the problems, but she was able to do it. YouTube Automod is optimized for English, so it'll only get removed if you snitch, probably. Actually, so what happened was she used to call... So eroge, the word eroge itself was a banned word in the Japanese YouTube algorithm. So instead of eroge, she kept on saying bebobe, like she's keeping the nuance of the word but using a completely different word. She kept on saying bebobe, but she said bebobe so many times in her fucking stream, then they started censoring that, and it got added to the fucking algorithm, and then bebobe became like a ban word for like everybody else as well. So yeah, the magic of the internal guts of YouTube banning algorithms is pretty interesting. YouTube censorship when doing educational gun content. Don't give me your whole, oh my god, I just want to post educational gun content on YouTube. Gun shit gets taken down. Bullshit. There's still like 5,000 FPS Russia videos up in my follower feed. Don't be silly. I can go to my YouTube account right now and just watch endless videos of people just shooting stuff and blowing up shit. And the guy literally got arrested because the feds didn't like him owning 5,000 guns. It's all demonetized. I'm sure these people are making plenty of money, dudes. Don't worry about them. When are you gonna add a female orc barbarian? Not for a while. What is your favorite sandwich? The people deserve to know. I haven't eaten a sandwich in a long time. Does a patty melt count as a sandwich, or is it a spin-off of a hamburger? That's one question. It's definitely not a cold sandwich. I'll give you that. It would definitely be a hot grilled form of sandwich with lots of like butter on the grill, so you get the oil experience. Patty met counts, hamburgers are sandwiches. See, now you've started the fucking controversy in the chat. People are gonna fight to death over this shit. No, hamburgers aren't sandwiches. A bun is not a slice of bread. No. Buns are literally sliced bread. Yeah, but they're kind of like round and fluffy, which makes them different from normal bread, I guess. Cereal is soup. Cereal is definitely not soup. Because you can eat cereal without the milk. See, by that theory, that's saying that the main component of cereal is the milk. You can have soup that's just broth without big chunks in it. Whereas cereal is the opposite. The chunks are the main component of the cereal. I will eat dry cereal right here just to trigger you people. It's not. Buns are not made to be cut in the same way you would cut a loaf of bread. Here's another thing. Let me put some more lighter fluid on this fire. Is a taco a sandwich? You're essentially sandwiching a bunch of stuff in between some sort of material that's kind of like bread. Isn't that basically a sandwich? It's a wrap, but it's not wrapped. A burrito's a wrap. Taco isn't wrapped, it's open. If a taco was properly wrapped, I wouldn't have the problem of all my shit spilling out. I swear to God, tacos are just inferior versions of burritos. I don't understand why people are like, yeah, Taco Tuesday. I fucking love taco. Especially hard shell tacos. Hard shell tacos can fuck off. Like, seriously. Don't ever give me a fucking hard shell taco. You may as well just give me a fucking bag of tortilla chips if you're gonna do that. They now have Cinnamon Toast Crunch taco shells. What's the 10 most fucked up things that Taco Bell has tried to sell you as food? Taco Bell is what the version of food if you allowed like a 10-year-old who doesn't want to eat his veggies and then gave him the resources of a billion-dollar multinational company. And he was like, okay, I want the food scientists to develop me a Dorito-flavored taco shell bun so I can get the Dorito dust on my hands. Taco Bell's meat comes in plastic bags. That alone qualifies as fucked up. I mean, we can still go lower than that. But the truth is, most of our meat is processed in, like, pretty nasty ways. So while Taco Bell might seem like nasty on a whole nother level, it's probably not that different from a lot of the other options. See, now I want McDonald's, now that we've talked about this. Taco Bell isn't even cheap. I paid $25 for 8 soft taco supremes yesterday. I don't understand why you'd eat Taco Bell when you can get a very similar experience just by opening a fucking can of beans in your house and then putting a shit ton of melted cheese on it. You basically have the same flavor profile if you just eat a bunch of melted cheese and beans at home and then put a bunch of hot sauce on it. It's basically the same fucking experience. But instead you go to Taco Bell and sit in the drive-thru for like 20 minutes and then spend like $30 to get a bunch of burritos. Isn't Taco Bell and most fast food like pricey now? Fucking hell, me too. Yeah, I mean, this happened because fast food workers decided that they didn't want to die from COVID during the lockdown. So corporations were forced to raise people's pay. It's one of those ironic moments of worker unity. It also went from being like a job that you would hate, that you would do during summer as like a teenager, to people's like full-time employment for their entire life. People trying to survive working at Burger King. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is that A, people aren't paid enough to survive working at fast food, but B, it also makes the fast food more expensive because it's not something that's considered to just be like a side job that you give to teenagers. It's something that people are trying to make a living off of. Also, people have, the consumers have also proven that they're willing to pay more. And once a company realizes they can charge more for something, it's never going to go back down. The customers prove that they're willing to pay way more for fast food than they should, really. Considering they could eat something that tastes better and is more healthy for them at home. But Americans are lazy and addicted to fat and salt and sugar and stuff, so we're still going to go to McDonald's. That's just how we work. 4chan is back up but is in comment only mode right now? You mean there's no images? Let me check 4chan. And see how many N words show up in 5 seconds. I don't know, it seems like it's fully back. There's a thread that says, I legit missed you fucking retards like you wouldn't believe. The downtime made me realize 4chan is actually one of the only decent places on the internet. I went on Twitter once during the downtime and realized that the people here are not even 1% as mentally ill as people there. 4chan is unironically a safe space at this point. As someone who every once in a while checks out Twitter, I think he's right about that one. Twitter is definitely one of the most mentally ill places on the internet. The combination of people shilling their NFTs and their various shitcoin cryptocurrencies combined with the hard right and the hard left going at each other nonstop, combined with all the people that have legitimate, you know, mental health issues, altogether makes it one of the most destable places on the fucking internet, for sure. 4chan at least has, like, post-culture and stuff. It's way more stable than Twitter. Facebook is worse than Twitter. That might be true. I haven't been on Facebook in many, many years, so I don't know how bad it is. You probably have a point there. Blue Sky is full of so many commies and straight haters. Fuck is wrong with people? Because all the people who left Twitter went to Blue Sky, so that just means you get the other extremist. The extremist in the opposite direction, which makes it just as bad. It should have been expected. Because social media is not a mandatory participant thing like public schooling, for example. Only the weirdos who have the most extreme opinions that they just absolutely have to share with everybody are going to show up on it. I mean, think about it this way. These are the people that think that their opinions are so important that everybody should hear it. They're the equivalent of the guy in the New York subway that's like yelling at everybody. Of course, everything that's going to be posted on that platform is going to be fucked up. It's just sort of baked into the format, you know? Extremist retards were in everything. During college, I was, I think I can't remember what. It was like some sort of military-related undergrad class, but they were talking about how when countries get destabilized and these extremist governments, usually right-wing extremist governments, because we haven't had a left-wing extremist government in quite a while, but when these extremist governments start gaining power, instead of going after the far left or the far right on the opposite side of them, what they usually do is they go after the moderates first. They go after the moderates and the intellectuals, kind of like what Trump is doing right now with colleges. Because things that are dangerous for these authoritarian governments is people who can think independently, which includes a lot of college professors and college students and stuff who are being taught how to think. That's basically what you do in college. It's all about learning how to think. And it's the moderates who are like trying to keep social fabric together. But instead, they leave the extremists on the other side because people will be like, oh, well, at least he's not like those crazy commies on Twitter, etc., etc. And it makes it seem like the extremist views on the other side are more acceptable. So they sort of amplify each other, which is definitely what's going on Twitter right now. I just want to be left alone. If you are left alone, who will pay the taxes? Literally the fascist playbook, yeah. I had like a few days in which I was legitimately like freaking the fuck out because Trump was doing every single thing that I learned in college that fascists are supposed to do when they're basically taking over the country. And I was like, holy shit, it's actually happening right now in front of my eyes. This is crazy. But luckily the Trump administration is as evil as they are also extremely incompetent in many ways, so it hasn't been lost overnight at least. Twitter is just bots and people who jerk it to pictures. It's really unclear how many people are bots on the internet at this point. Where did it all go wrong? What was the catalyst that kicked off this constant culture war shit show? I legitimately think what went wrong was Obama getting elected. As a huge Obama supporter, I think he started the sort of downward spiral of American politics because I think the American right, having a black guy as president for 8 years, basically fucked up the minds of the American right, and they started just losing it. They basically lost their identity where they were somewhat stable as, I don't know, neo-colonialist people who wanted to invade Iraq and take the oil and shit, and they just went into like full culture war mode. And then the left started swinging farther left as a result of the craziness of the right that got triggered by Obama, and we've just been going seesawing back and forth for quite a while now. Imagine if Pete Hegseth were sober. I don't know. I think they are sober. They're just stupid. If we could just go back in time and somehow figure out a way to bleach Obama so he was the same president in terms of like personality, but he wasn't black, like everything would be way better right now. It's also the education system. That's also part of the funny part is Republicans are trying to gut education as hard as fucking possible in every single matter so that people will be stupid because, you know, only stupid people are going to vote for Trump MAGA bullshit. It's such an obvious ploy. I don't even know if they're aware of what they're doing, but it's so obvious. Like, I don't know about the self-awareness level of MAGA that they're like, yes, we need a lot more dumb people because only dumb people will vote for us. But it certainly looks like they're self-aware. Obama is just a figurehead of the corporate oligarchy. Eh. I mean, you could argue that Trump is one of the first presidents who have disrupted the corporate oligarchy in many, many years, but considering, like, you know, there's no way that all these corporations are happy with the global world trade system being disrupted as hard as he has, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to make our life any better. You can disrupt the corporate dystopia system by taking a massive shit in the town square and just spreading the shit over your face and everybody else's face. But that doesn't necessarily mean our lives are going to be better. We're just going to be covered in shit. Better to be dumb than woke, Keikona. To be fair, you can be both pretty easily. You want to see a horrifying picture? This. Nothing is scarier than this. Remember, everybody on this side of the graph is allowed to vote just as much as everybody on this side of the graph. I believe both parties want dumb people to vote for them. I mean, you have to have dumb people to vote for you. That's impossible. I mean, in our mind, we're all around here. It's like me, I'm surely here. There's no way I could be over here. Isn't that right, guys? I've never actually taken an IQ test. But I can't be bothered. I don't have enough time. I have to be using my retard strength to draw, so I IQ tested at like 140 in the 3rd grade. How much good has that done for you? Surely you must be a world-leading scientist by now, my friend. I took my own IQ test and graded myself at 224. I don't know, man. I think IQ is a pretty fucking stupid measurement. I haven't actually given myself an IQ test. But I've always gotten very good, like, book smart type scores. Especially stuff like multiple choice. I've always scored well on that. But I'm pretty sure I'm not that fucking smart. I just have the right mental compatibility with that type of shit. Like, I don't want to be the woke people who are like, the reason why the black population of the United States has like an IQ that's average around like way lower or something than white people is because of the testing is just built to be disadvantageous to black testers and shit like that, but I kind of do sort of agree with it. As someone who's like played sports and whenever I would have to do shit like fast decision making, like who's standing over here, which means I have to pass over here and shit like that, I would never be able to do it because I can't think fast enough. So I don't think that sort of mental capability is actually tested. Like, people often talk about how LeBron James is supposed to be, like, one of the smartest NBA players of all time. He knows exactly what's going on the court, etc., etc. But LeBron James is also the guy who walks around with copies of The Godfather, the book, as if it's, like, you know, he's reading Gravity's Rainbow or some shit. The Godfather is not some like amazing difficult novel, but it's pretty obvious that he hasn't even read it. It's so obvious that LeBron isn't reading the books that he carries around that during the current NBA playoffs we literally have he actually agreed to a joke commercial for a some sort of phone video game in which they're making fun of him pretending to be reading books, so he's in on the fucking joke. So he clearly is not reading all the books he carries around. I was in gifted and learning disabled programs in elementary and middle school. I was in special ed in middle school because I had a speech impediment, which you can still hear. I don't pronounce my R's strongly enough, so it sounds like I have a Boston accent. Instead of saying R, I pronounce it with a W. Drawer. Clam chowder. You know, that type of stuff. Well, I'm glad 4chan is back up, though. I didn't have anything to read while I was taking a shit. Also, I think it was really premature for all these, not all of these, but there's a significant amount of websites where like, this time 4chan might be gone for good. I was like, Jesus Christ, it's only been like a week. We have such immediacy bias needs for just like immediate shit. If something isn't back in a fucking week, people are like, oh my god, we're never gonna fucking see it again. I mean, if Tumblr hasn't disappeared completely after banning porn, I'm pretty sure 4chan isn't gonna disappear completely either. Also, 4chan is owned by Hiroyuki, who, if you don't know, is a Japanese person who has dedicated his life to being like a troll and has made a huge business off of it because there's not many trolls in Japanese society. So people are... He's somehow like a respected figure in Japanese society just by saying contradictory opinions to conventional wisdom. A lot of language who learn another language early in life often end up in speech therapy. I'm not sure if this is because I learned Japanese or not. Honestly. Because I wasn't really thinking about that shit. Because I learned Japanese when I was 6. So I might have already had it before I went to Japan. I'm not sure. If 4chan really did fail for good, where would the posters go next? I mean, what websites are you allowed to say the N-word and not get permabanned? Because that would be the location. Twitter? Oh, are you allowed to drop the N-bombs on Twitter? Good. I was worried because I was referring to my favorite NBA player, LeBron James, as my N-word the other day, and I was worried I might get banned, but it's good to know that I'm totally okay, that I get a pass to use that word on Twitter now. I guess I'm part of the club. That's a joke, Twitch. I'm not actually adding LeBron. Twitter only allows hard R, LMAO. Did you see the New York Times article where they actually found a bunch of right-wing commentators that got millions and millions of views on Twitter, and then they got in a little spat with Elon Musk, and then he fucking absolutely annihilated used the algorithm so they wouldn't get any views? The whole thing was pretty funny. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. It's something that I guess we all expected would be happening, but yeah. Of course, Elon would make sure that if you got on his bad side, you wouldn't be able to make money off his platform. I mean, why even own the platform if you're not going to do that, right? What are tweets called now that Twitter is called X? They're called tweets because nobody actually calls Twitter X, guys. Come on. Whenever they call Twitter X, they call it in the format of X previously known as Twitter, which is why you shouldn't name your things a single letter. The only time I actually see people use X for Twitter is on in Japanese internet, because the X stands out in contrast to all the other Japanese letters, so it seems like a individual thing instead of a single letter in English. But it really doesn't work in English, does it? It's like when Prince changed his name to a symbol that has no way to read it, and people had to call him the artist previously known as Prince for like the next 10 years and shit. Which, you know, is a pretty boss move on Prince's part. It's funny how when Prince does something, it's awesome, and when Elon does something, it's fucking cringe and stupid. Interesting how that works out, doesn't it? It's almost like one of those people is cool and the other person is a fucking loser. I hope Elon isn't listening to this, because he's definitely going to block my website traffic, my Twitter account traffic, if he learns I said this. I'm sorry, Elon. I think you're very cool. Between that and his veganism, Prince must have truly been a pain in the ass to be around. Prince was such a pain in the ass to be around that, like, if you watch Purple Rain, he's a pain in the ass. Like, even the fictional version of him is a pain in the ass. I heard that, like, he would announce he would go to, like, some really small music place, and then he would show up, like, 3 hours late, and everyone would still be waiting at, like, 2 in the morning for him to show up, and then he'd just play, like, 3 songs and then leave. Everyone would be like, yeah, that was worth it. Again, being cool has its payoffs. The video-only subsidiary of X videos, pretty pog. What's your favorite real-life human porn site for you guys to go to nowadays? Do people still use Pornhub after they made a huge effort to make sure that they were legally okay, and they scrubbed a bunch of their content, or to have people moved on to different websites? I barely ever look at three-dimensional women at this point, so it's not really my problem. Still Pornhub. Dude wasn't just straight, he's fucked. Yeah, I believe Prince was one of those people that could just, like, walk into whatever party and then go home with whatever woman he wanted. Those types. He was, like, had that, like, sort of Rasputin, like, he's gonna stare in your eyes and women are just like, time to have sex with Prince. Also, all the stories about the shit he would do in terms of like his musical talent still fucking blows my mind. Like the fact that he was a huge NBA fan, so he would have like a TV set up on the side of the stage, like so people couldn't see it from the audience, and he would be like doing the concert while watching the fucking game. He could like sing and play the fucking guitar at like the highest level possible while still paying attention to the sports game on the side of the stage, which is absolutely just crazy shit. The truth is, talent is real, and if you don't got it, you're kind of fucked. I mean, you're looking at a good example of it right now. And I don't mean I'm talented, I mean I'm not that talented on a general scale of like actually good at being drawing. The good thing about manga is like you can get away with being pretty shitty at some of the more artistic parts of it and still make it somewhat. But my practice, you have to practice. But the thing, the talented people are also going to practice, and they're going to get better, way better, way faster than you. So all of your practice is kind of meaningless compared to their practice. Like in the amount of time that you get good after doing 10,000 reps, the talented people are just going to do 100 reps and just figure it out, and they're just going to be better. It's pretty depressing. Talent is just the result of hard work. It really isn't. People who have talent also do hard work, but yeah, it's definitely not just hard work at all. You are born with like different types of abilities to a certain degree. Do you think getting swole is a talent thing? No, getting swole is a steroid thing. It comes down to how many dollars worth of chemical substances you're willing to pump your body with. That is not a talent thing. That's a steroid thing. Obviously, getting swole above a certain level is a talent thing, right? Even if you're using the same amount of steroids, you're not going to be able to look like Ronnie Coleman, but if you just want to get to a certain level, all you need is a shit ton of human growth hormone. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It's all about the juice, baby. If you ain't juicing, you're losing. Why even go to the gym if you're not gonna pump yourself full of trank? What's it called? It's not called trank, was it? Tran? See, YouTube keeps on giving me all this steroid-related content, so now not only am I getting fed bodybuilding shit, I'm getting fed the specifics about... Oh, Tren, that's right. Right Tren dosage. The test and trend cycle is the most powerful and intense anabolic steroid combination taken by bodybuilders and athletes. This is a ad for things for people to use besides trend. They're trying to sell something else. Unlocking the power of Trenbolone Anathate benefits. Trend dosage for beginners. Are Asian genes real when it comes to drawing? No. They really aren't. It's just people... It's just there's more people who are motivated to become good artists in the Asian sphere. What about all the French people who are insanely good? I think the Black Sad author is like probably the best like all-around artist besides Murata. In terms of like he can just draw shit. On the other hand, those people don't have deadlines the same way that Japanese manga artists do, so that alone makes them less impressive. Always remember that the mangaka that you are like, this guy isn't that good, is also has to draw it on like 2 hours sleep and shit out 20 pages a week, non-stop, forever, until they die of a heart failure. I will flip a coin. You either suffer kidney failure or your excess testosterone will cause your nuts to shrink into caviar. Don't you just get both? Why do you need to flip a coin? I thought you can just have both at the same time. You die from heart failure and your nuts shrink. Why choose? I prefer my shit art mangaka that shits out his work over one that never finishes his shit. True. I should remember that and work faster. I'm constantly trying to figure out how I can, what is an acceptable level of, like, professionalism, and how do I get better while also going faster and not worrying too much about quality. Obviously, I'm not going fast on this stream, but I was going pretty fast this morning. I am getting faster, but not fast enough still. There's this whole question about, like, what is quality, what is an acceptable quality? Because if it isn't an acceptable quality, it really isn't an acceptable quality, because then people won't read it. And people have different thresholds for shitty art, you know. So where do you figure out what's necessary and what isn't necessary in terms of quality? Just one more redraw One Punch Man, bros. I don't know what the fuck Murata is doing with that one. He's really entered the zone, right? He probably has more money than he can ever use, so he doesn't really give a fuck. But I really don't understand where he's trying to go with that. The whole re-releases a million times and just keep on redrawing the same fucking story again. The weirdest part is that he's doing it for One Punch Man, a story that's just about a bald guy punching enemies, and it ends the same way. It has the same fucking plot cycle. It's not. He's not trying to fucking write Crime and Punishment here, guys. Like, come on, man, Murata. Just, you know. How many variations do we need? There's no impressionable idiot that is talented enough to do BB's busy work. The thing is that, yeah, drawing is difficult. And if it was Japan, I might be able to find someone that's like, we're buddies, I'm going to help you. But, you know, there's a lot of doujin authors where they find somebody, some help. But right now there's a huge shortage of assistants in Japan, actually, because there's so many mangaka, thanks to the internet and foreign consumers. There's way more mangaka that are holding series right now than there have been before. Because it used to be only the number of magazines, right? But now there's just like all these internet areas for publishing, so that means there's more mangaka holding a series and there's more need for assistants to help, but there's not enough assistants to go around, so there's actually a huge assistant shortage right now. BB's intern can do the coloring. Coloring really does not help manga quality. If anything, you see like some of these people that have like fully colored manga, now that there's people who are trying to do manga using individual AI images and shit like that, they're not easier to read at all than black and white. Like, they might be easier to look at, but as a format that's meant to be read, not just looked at, it's not necessarily an upgrade, I would say. America doesn't understand this because they've been cucked by the comic industry for many, many years. But manga is carefully calculated so that your eye travels across the page and you can read it quickly at the same timing as like characters speaking or action happening. It's not something that's supposed to be looked at statically and read. Do American comics make money, or they are loss leader for video games and shows? I'm pretty sure they don't make money at this point. I don't think they've been making money for in a long time. Every once in a while they'll have some sort of print run that is somewhat profitable, I think. But in general, they're a loss leader, is what I've been told. There's people in chat who are probably more knowledgeable about the American comic industry than I am, but in 2025, I'm pretty sure they're in the red hard. Hasn't the comic industry kind of gone to shit, like, really badly? I believe so. I mean, when's the last time you've bought a comic? I can't remember, is the entirety of Marvel owned by Disney at this point? Or is it just their, the movie adaptations? Is the full publishing also part of Disney? Yes, all of Marvel. What about DC? Is all of DC owned by Warner Brothers? I have no idea how superheroes became the US standard for the entire industry. Well, the short story is that is because of government regulation, as is often the case in the America. The long story is because American consumers are kind of retarded and they don't like reading books. Like if you still go to Japan, there's still a shit ton of just like physical bookstores everywhere. At pretty much any train station, you can just walk into a physical bookstore and buy a nice paperback. And there's constantly people in there buying shit. And that's not something I see in America at all, of course. Every airport sells books. Yeah, that's the only place that sells books, guys. Where's your local bookstore? In America, you probably don't have one. I have always wondered why must they use always the same heroes? Like, why must Batman exist forever and never end? And I have also seen people defend that shit. Because people are afraid of change. Also because it's owned by the corporation instead of the author. The corporation's goal is not to tell a coherent or good story. It's to make money forever. And make more money increasingly forever. So you don't get the situation where an author is just like, okay, this story is over, I'm gonna end it. It just has to keep on going on. The toys always have to go back in the toy box so they can be taken out and played with again. That's the primary difference between the manga and Japanese publishing industry and American publishing industry, is that there's way stronger automatic authors' rights in Japan that are just like taken for granted but aren't the same in America. In Japan, you might have to give away your rights for some amount of time to the publishing company, so you can't just like immediately go to a different company or some shit like that, but they always go back to the author eventually. So there are plenty of manga authors, famous manga authors, who had huge spats with the publishing company and just took all their IP and left. Something that you could never do if you were an American comic author, you know? Japan has a light novel where it's easier to get published than in America. Japan also has a massive website where all the isekai shit come from. It's just a text-based website and everybody posts that stuff. But the result is you have a massive publishing boom of sub quality shitty fantasy novels because so many people are willing to read and write in Japan. That's what it really comes down to. Japanese people are more interested in reading and writing than Americans are. That really is what it comes down to. Americans are just way more illiterate than, for example, Japan. And this goes back hundreds of years. During the Edo period, historically, there were these huge book lending clubs and stuff in Tokyo. Edo at the time, where they would... just like normal commoners would just be reading a shit ton of books, and you'd borrow the book from the club or the store, and then you'd take it back. And this is before, like, I don't know if they had the standard printing press. I'm sure they had the printing press. I guess they had wood blocks is what they were using. Any idiot can get their book self-published on Amazon. That's kind of our equivalent. Yeah, but how many self-published books on Amazon are popular enough that they get a fucking anime? I don't read any self-published books on Amazon, but I'm pretty sure that if I read 100 of them, I wouldn't find a single one that's even worth my time, whereas that's not the case for the Japanese amateur market at all. If I read 100 pieces of shit in Japan, I always find 2 or 3 things that I think are really good. I mean, most of the shit being published on Amazon is all AI generated anyways. Isekai slop is even worse than Western superhero slop, though? Yeah, but Isekai slop isn't being published by quote-unquote professional authors. Whereas superhero slop is 100% being published by the richest, biggest companies on the fucking planet in Disney. And that's the best they can do. You're comparing Joe Schmo, who thinks he can make it big, and is writing his isekai slop in his fucking garage. Of course, they don't have a garage in Japan, but versus professional authors and artists, and yet all the best they can do is still publish superhero shit. That's the problem, is that the Japanese amateur author is better, or at least equal to the Western professional author at this point. The society is all about homogenization. Of course, they'll be more open to searching of different ideas. I mean, the Isekai Slop website doesn't have many different ideas. It's full of a shit ton of copycats. It's not like everything is good. You just have 1 or 2. You're just shifting through a giant pile of shit, hoping that you find like 1 or 2 things that you actually like. Isekai is just fanfiction, incest, non-stop copying. I mean, I wish it had more incest. Japanese authors actually want to make something. I think that's what it does come down to. Is that there's more creatives in Japan. Possibly because of the homogenized, shitty society on the outside. Maybe that sort of outward stresses force Japanese people to find their creative inward instincts or something. I don't know. Can't think of many manga where the incest actually amounts to anything. Yeah, but you'd think that for all the isekai amateur stuff, there's less censorship, and originally it's people just writing stuff on their own without any kind of publisher input, so they'd be more open to various incest, more hardcore forms of incest, but you rarely find that as well. As much as I dislike There's No Way My Little Sister Can Be This Cute, I give the author an immense amount of credit for going all in on the incest in the end. He does not fuck around being like, no, we're not actually blood related, blah blah blah. No, he's like, no. There are many better girls than Kirino. And nobody actually wants to see MC-kun fuck his sister because his sister is extremely annoying. But that's what the story is about, and he will fuck his sister To that I say bravo. That's some principled shit right there. US artists would fight to be ass wiper for One Piece. There would be like 10,000 One Piece spin-offs. There already are a few One Piece spin-offs in Japan. But instead of it just being One Piece and like one or two One Piece adjacent shit, there would be like the alternate timeline written by whatever author that can't write their own good content. There'd be like, what if Luffy was a woman? What if Luffy was actually evil? You know, we'd have like 10 million versions of that shit. Instead of actually producing anything new, they just attach themselves to various iterations of One Piece. I mean, I can't really talk that much myself, considering I'm an artist that does a shit ton of parody work. That's another thing. Japan has the whole doujin artist marketplace. So the market is more willing to support amateur artists as well. So if you want to do like a spin-off of One Piece in which Luffy is evil and he ass rapes Frankie or something like that, not that Luffy would ever do something that sexy, you can go ahead and do it, right? Nobody's going to stop you. No publisher is going to shut down your One Piece homo doujin. Do you really think One Piece peaked with the CP9 arc? I don't think One Piece peaked with CP9 arc. I think it peaked with Alabaster arc. I think it peaked way earlier than CP9, actually. I unironically think One Piece was at its best around volume 23 in Alabaster. And I'm glad that Oda is continuing it, because there's been lots of good moments, but unfortunately I think just the way the story and stuff was set up, that was its best moment, and it hasn't gotten better. Who is your favorite male crew member? I don't like the Straw Hat crew. I'm too evil. Let's say Jinbei, because he's his tard wrangling. I always sympathize with the people that their primary job is to tard wrangle. And my god, that poor fish man, he has to tard wrangle every single fucking day. I haven't even read any of the story chapters after he joins the Straw Hats crew. I just know that he's like a permanent tard wrangler because he has to be. How about favorite One Piece character without boobs? How about the giant fucking snake? I don't know. I kind of like the Marineford generals that are based off of Japanese police show actors. I think they would be fun to draw. Doflamingo, 11 out of 10, perfect character, no changes. Why am I not surprised that you're a Doflamingo simp? I'm sure there's lots of women who are like, whoa, abusive psycho wearing glasses. So sexy. Please abuse me, Teehee. I stopped watching during Doflamingo arc. Nothing happened ever. I agree that nothing ever happened, but we must also remember that there was a Nami face girl wearing a chainmail bikini for the entirety of that arc. That counts for something. Do you agree that Rukia should have won? I don't give a fuck about those retards. Ichigo is a boring character, so I don't give a fuck. How about my favorite One Piece character is one of those, the aristocrat, the ugly bastard aristocrats that probably spent 100 years abducting women and raping them in their sex dungeons. How about that? If you think about it, I've talked about this before, but if you think about it logically, every single one of the Straw Hats crew members, not Straw Hat crew members, but both Nami, uh, Hancock, and Robin have probably been sex slaves at some point, if you think about it. Because they've all been enslaved by people at some point, right? Hmm. Holy shit, you're right. In most shonen, especially if you're trying to go after the otaku audience, the author goes out of their way to make sure there's no hints of male presences in the female character's past to so that otaku won't feel bad about their own sexual inadequacies when they realize the girl has had a boyfriend and she might like her ex-boyfriend's dick better. But Oda doesn't give a fuck about that shit, so he's like, yeah, all the female characters have basically been chained up and probably been fucked by a bunch of fishmen at some point. Damn it, I'm trying to fucking eyeball this, but I can't. Yeah, why am I having so much difficulty eyeballing it? Yeah, I guess it's good enough. How else are we going to speedrun feminine character development without a bit of slavery and sexual exploitation? The reason it seems like that is because bad things have to happen in the flashbacks of every one of the One Piece characters, and just logically speaking, it's hard to imagine a situation in which these bad things happen to a female character in which they don't get like fucked by a bunch of evil guys, considering that they all have big titties, you know? It's just hard to imagine them getting away without, you know, getting chained up at some point. You could argue that Nami never had to have sex with all the fishmen that were imprisoning her because, you know, do you want to fuck a fish? Why do you think Arlen would want to have sex with Nami? I mean, I guess that's the wrong question to ask this chat, because there's probably a lot of people in this chat who are like, yeah, I would definitely want to fuck a fish. Vivi and Rebecca are the ones that haven't been enslaved, yes. I think Arlong would think having sex with a human is beneath him. I hope that fishmen reproduce like actual fish, in that you just come into the water and then you spray your semen and it just inseminates eggs that have already been laid in the water. That would be based. Someone asked Oda Sensei in the book comment section how fishmen reproduce. Oda Sensei, Odachi. Every night I stay awake thinking about Arlen's penis. Does Arlen have a penis? Does he just come into the ocean? I need you to answer this, please. Damn, I'm trying to do these shadows and I can't really figure out how to do it. You know he'll answer that. Sometimes he does give weird answers to weird things. I mean, One Piece has a pretty dark worldview in terms of like settings and stuff. It just doesn't spend the time dwelling on it like Naruto, for example. It's not like the power of the curse, the darkness in my soul type shit. Bad shit just happens and you overcome it and you keep on going. What does Big Mom's pee taste like? I haven't read any of the Big Mom's arc. Doesn't she have like a bunch of like sugar and stuff? Isn't she like diabetic? How much sugar do these people eat? What's the most darkest thing in One Piece? I mean, literally everybody has like a flashback in which their entire family is murdered and shit, so... I mean, isn't the darkest part that there's a world government ruled by completely corrupt aristocrats that can go and, like, kill whoever they want, whenever they want, and do whatever they want at any point, and they can get away with it, and there's nothing you can do? Enough about Israel, LMAO. Except Zoro, his friend fell down the stairs. The stairs were too powerful, guys. The strongest devil fruit user of all time. The fucking stairs. One Piece power levels are fucking hilarious. When Oda hasn't really figured out how vulnerable human beings are in the universe in the early stages, when Shanks is getting his arm bitten off by random sea fish creature, local fish creature, and Zoro's girlfriend is dying from falling down the stairs and shit. Talk about some serious retconning he had to do after that. Down D stairs. Too powerful. That's more like systematic evil. I feel like everyone is thinking of morally depraved stuff. The most morally depraved stuff are all the shit that I did in every night in my bed when I'm masturbating to my 10,000 pictures of Nico Robin porn. Shanks let his fish eat his arm because it was branded or some crap, obviously. Is that like an actual explanation that's showed up in One Piece that because I haven't been reading it recently, or are you just theorizing? Buggy is a descendant of Pagliacci. Here's the darkest thing that happened in One Piece. The guy who got trapped in the fucking treasure box for like 15 years, hoping that there was treasure in it, and it was fucking empty. That's the darkest shit right there. One Piece has never been darker than that. He found a wife who was also trapped in a box. Feels good, man. It's not fair. Why does Gaimon get a wife and I don't get a wife? His crew just left him there, LMAO. That feeling when your buds just leave you. Trapped in a fucking treasure chest. That sounds pretty funny though. Anything that happens to someone with an afro is just automatically funny. It's all just good fun and games, even if it's extremely tragic. Magic Johnson. Did Magic Johnson have an afro at any point? I don't think he did. Also, Magic Johnson is doing fine. HIV isn't that big a deal if you have $1 gorillion, which he does. Did you hear that there was some sort of U.S. religious group that was currently suing... I think it was for, like, federal health care or some shit like that, because they didn't want to cover... Oh, that's right. It was, it was like some sort of religious-based group that also provides health insurance, and they were trying to sue regarding the Affordable Care Act having mandatory coverage of stuff like HIV medications, because they're like, it's against our religious freedom, because we think homosexuality is a sin, so she wouldn't have to cover this. And I'm just like, holy shit, we're still in 2025, and the fucking religious conservatards are still pretending like you don't get the gay virus as long as you're straight. Like, they still can't figure the fuck out that yes, you can still get HIV if you stick your penis in the vajayjay. Like, I can't believe we're still doing this shit in 2025. They seriously are still trying to argue that it's the gay virus. It's so stupid. It's the current year, Chuds. I mean, you just think that, like, something as important as reminding people that they can still get AIDS even if they stick it in the pussy would be, like, pretty high on our list of things. This is part of the reason why Africa has so much HIV, by the way, because they're like, it's just a gay thing. It's like, no, it's not, guys. You still get AIDS. Everybody has AIDS, guys. AIDS is God's punishment. Copium, yes. It's in the same category as Hurricane Katrina, which was shaped like a fetus. Because too many people in New Orleans were having abortions, so God sent a fucking hurricane to decimate the city. That's just how these things work, people. People really are terrified of the concept of just like an arbitrary, chaotic universe. It's very scary, isn't it? God sent Katrina to New Orleans because we were also super gay. Maybe all the gay guys were having their fetuses aborted. Nobody knows. Some of the Christians believe the world is 6,000 years old. Science and logic isn't part of their reasoning. Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Libtards. I mean, it sort of goes to the core problem of the Christian faith, which is if God is all-powerful and God is good, then why do bad things happen to good people? This is the one unanswerable question that Christians have to cope with, and they try not to think about it as much as possible because you can never square the circle. It's okay if you live with like the Jewish version of Christianity, like the pre-Jesus loves you version, because you can just explain everything by God being an angry asshole. So there isn't any contradictions there. But in Christianity where God is good and also he loves you, then it becomes impossible to explain the problem of like when you get fucking AIDS. So they have to cope about it being like, no, those people were deserving AIDS because, you know, they were being gay and shit like that. God works in mysterious ways because it's a test, LMAO. That's right. God is just testing that kid by giving him leukemia. Oh, the kid died? I guess he didn't pray hard enough. Am I right, fellow child haters? I'm glad that God took that kid from this world by giving him cancer when he was like 5 years old. Kid was probably basically asking for it. Stupid little shit. The idea of wondering why God does bad things is a waste of time. A human would never be able to comprehend the thinking of an omniscient and omnipresent entity. Yes, but the concept of God is good is the concept that God is good in relative to human values. So even that cope doesn't work. He's also all-powerful, so the only reason why he should have to make your life horrible and painful is because he's fucking mean. Job was a fucking plant. Job had a pretty hard life. On the other hand, he did get new wife and kids after God wiped them out, so it wasn't all that bad. What if we're God's Pokemon? If we're God's Pokemon, why hasn't he sent me to the breeding center yet? Maybe God is like, the Pokemon Center slots are full. We need to reduce the population of the world. That's why we've all stopped having sex. Man, I don't know about these pants. I really have to figure out how the wrinkles of these pants. Man, wrinkles are such a pain in the ass. Fabric and, like, cloth drapery is such a pain in the ass. I always have so much difficulty with that shit. I think it's comparable to how you unknowingly step over an ant trail and cause them to death spiral. Sure. But that goes against the concept of the Christian God. So if we are thinking that God is like not paying attention and he just lets billions of people die because he doesn't give a fuck, then sure, a lot of things make sense. But that's not how the Christian faith works. The idea of the Christian, like, Jesus is our friend, is like God is your friend and he's watching over you directly and you just need to believe in him. Just one more reason why the Greek pantheon was cooler. Yeah, also lots of incest. Wait, I take that back. There's lots of incest in Old Testament as well, so I guess that's not true. That feeling when you have to fuck your father because you think the world has collapsed and the only way to continue the bloodline is by fucking your unconscious father. Poor Lot. I feel like it's very conceited to us that a moment we thought that of all the physical universe God created, he would have chosen us above all things that exist. What if God's favorite thing is black holes or dark matter? To be fair, Christians thought that the sun rotated the earth for, 1,000 years. And when somebody said, actually, put in glasses, actually emoji, actually that's not true, they're like, no, shut the fuck up, Galileo, and put him in prison. Shut the fuck up, you stupid bitchy ass nerd. Peak bullying right there. Stupid uppity ass nerd thinks he can tell the Catholic Church what's real and what isn't real. Get put in jail, bitch. Not so smart now, huh? Chad Thundercock continues this tradition to this day by stuffing the nerd into a locker. I think that at this very moment there is an alien version of Ball on the other end of the galaxy talking about the exact topic right now. I believe there is life on other planets. I just think that it's all like bacteria and stuff. The dumbest argument I've heard or read published in any kind of like publication was some guy who was actually making the argument that life on other planets can't exist because if they existed they would have shown up at Earth by now, and I'm just like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Why the fuck would life on another planet necessarily be able to develop faster than light travel technology? What if they're just a bunch of worms? Like, nobody wants that version of the aliens, No one just wants to be like, yeah, we found a planet that's similar to Earth and it has life on it and it's just like bacteria. Just a bunch of single-cell organism guys. And everyone's like, no! If there isn't a big-titted blue alien woman who's gonna have sex with me, what's the point of sci-fi? If the aliens aren't blue and have titties, I don't know what I'm living for. This can't be true. do I want to do here? James Cameron! You said there were giant cat sexo women, blue sexo cat women. You lied! You think what odds are for space dust to fall in shape of self-replicating biomachine in resource-rich environment? Yes. And then Yahweh, the omnipresent God, gave life to it on other planets. Finding any form of life anywhere would be crazy as fuck, I guess. I think people will get, we won't, it won't be as big a deal as we think it might be if it actually happens, because people are too self-absorbed at this point. They're not like, no! I hope it mind-fucks a few Christians if it happens, but they'll probably just think of some new cope. It's very hard to mind-fuck Christians at this point, because they're so their head is so far up their ass in terms of various forms of cope that life on other planets probably won't shake them. Why is it actually sexy blue aliens and not green or purple? I like blue aliens. I also like blue demons and blue Oni. Ah! The blue Oni being calm can collect it, and the red one being extroverted and Gyaru-like. The yellow is a toss-up between Tomboy or Jo-sama. Oh my dick. I like blue Oni that have glasses and dress like office lady. Alright guys, I'm going to end the stream here and then go shopping. See you around, guys. I need to buy some carbonated water. See you around. Good night.